Hey guys, it is me, the Emerald Sword, and welcome back to another video, where today I will be reviewing Night Shift by Stephen King. So, of course, I do see the bookmark here, but I will explain that in just a moment. But anyway, so Night Shift is a short story collection. It is actually Stephen King's first short story collection, published in 1978. And, this one is very famous. I've heard that Night Shift is considered to be the best Stephen King short story collection. It has a lot of stories. There are 20 of them, so that's a lot. And so many of them became movies or TV shows. There are so many of these stories that became adaptations. So yeah, as I said, there are 20 stories. So I'm not going to go into detail for every single one of them, because then we'd just be here a while. But I will just kind of do a basic what is it about, how do I feel about it, and stuff like that. Right. So of course the book mark here is actually for the contents page right there. So basically I just kind of know which stories that are in here. All right, so the contents, there's an introduction by John J. MacDonald, and then a foreword by Stephen King, and then our first story is Jerusalem's Lot. Okay, so if you remember my last video about Salem's Lot, I said that I was going to be reading Night Shift next because it has Jerusalem's Lot, the first story, which is a prequel to Salem's Lot, and One for the Road, which we will discuss later, is a sequel to Salem's Lot. So basically, Jerusalem's Lot takes place in 1850, and it's about these New England settlers in a neighboring town called Chapelwaite, who hear about this strange town called Jerusalem's Lot, and they think that something's going on weird there. It's not vampires, by the way. In fact, I don't know what it is because the book doesn't say, but it's written in a series of letters to people. And yeah, so basically Jerusalem's Lot is a weird town, and we don't know why. And I was really looking forward to this one because, as I said, I'm looking forward to the new Salem's Lot movie. So I read the book again. I read both stories of Night Shift involving Salem's Lot, and I was really, really excited to read Jerusalem's Lot. But unfortunately, it was kind of disappointing because I didn't realize that it was going that far back in time. I thought it was maybe a prequel by a few years or maybe a few months. I didn't realize it was 125 years before Salem's Lot even took place. So yeah, that one kind of disappointed me. I also was kind of let down by the letters thing. I didn't realize that either. So anyway, now I have better expectations when I reread Night Shift eventually. I will know what Jerusalem's Lot is. But yeah. Alright, so the second story we have is Graveyard Shift. Okay, so Graveyard Shift, it's one of the gross out stories. There are a couple gross out stories in Night Shift, but Graveyard Shift is, I think, the most infamous one. So it is basically about these construction workers or these miners or something who have to deal with a lot of rats on their project. And so they find this hatch where a lot of rats have been multiplying and coming out of and stuff, and then they venture in to find mutated rats and mutated bats that are huge. And yeah, so that's a problem. And so I knew that Graveyard Shift was a gross out one. I haven't seen the movie. I know that there is a movie, but I've heard that it's really bad. Not that that stopped me before, but anyway. Graveyard Shift is certainly an interesting one. It certainly will gross you out if you're kind of not really squeamish, but you get disgusted by things really quickly, because I said there's rats and bats, and those are considered vermin, and people don't like vermin a lot. So anyway, Graveyard Shift, pretty interesting. Alrighty, so the third story here is Night Shift, or Night Surf, sorry, Night Surf. So basically, Night Surf is sort of like The Stand, I guess you could say. Because in Night Surf, it follows survivors of this flu variant called A6 as they hang out on the beach for probably the last night of their lives or something. And I don't really know what happens after that, but people are comparing it to The Stand, which is even funnier because Night Shift was released in early 78 and The Stand came out later in 78, which I thought was really funny. Sorry, my nose is very itchy. I apologize. But yeah, anyway, so Night Surf, it's kind of like The Stand a little bit. So for all of you who like The Stand out there, yeah, go read Night Surf. It's a Stand-ish tale, and I think you'll like it. It's basically just people who are probably the last people on Earth just hanging out on the beach at night. And yeah, that's about it. Alrighty, so the fourth story we have here is I Am the Doorway. Ooh, that's a weird one. Basically, it's a guy who has like a bunch of bandages on his hand. I think he did something to them, but I'm sorry, I do not remember. As I said, there are 20 stories in here, and since that's the fourth one, there are quite a lot of things to happen after that. So, but yeah, he has a lot of bandages on his hands, and I'm sure you've seen like the first editions of Night Shift, I believe, where like there's like a bandaged hand with like eyes on it. That's I Am the Doorway. That's the point of I Am the Doorway. Anyway, I thought I Am the Doorway was just mostly weird, but I really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it. So, yeah, anyway, yeah, so I Am the Doorway. And the next one is The Mangler. Ooh, one of my favorite ones. So, The Mangler takes place in this laundry place called Blue Ribbon Laundry, which we've also seen in Carrie and Roadwork. That's where Margaret White worked in Carrie, and Barton Dawes worked in Roadwork. And so there's this machine called a laundry press, which I've never heard of before, but since this was in the 70s, I'm not surprised. And basically, it was infected by someone's blood, and there's basically like a demon in it. So when someone goes to press their laundry in it, it grabs them, pulls them in, and then it eats them or kills them or something. Anyway, it's really creepy. And yeah, I really like that one because I've never seen an evil laundry machine before. So that one was really funny. So yeah, go read The Mangler. It's really funny. All right, so the sixth story is The Boogeyman. Ooh, okay. So of course, as you know, there was a new Boogeyman movie that came out last year. And you can see it right there. There's a sticker for that. So anyway, basically the Boogeyman is happening in a doctor's office. It's some sort of therapist's office. And this guy comes in to tell the doctor his story that all of his children were murdered. And it sounds like he did it, but he was actually telling the therapist about how the Boogeyman did it. And yeah, so I don't know if the movie follows that at all. I will watch it later today, so I guess I'll find that out for myself. I actually heard it's a sequel, but yeah, there you go. Anyway, so The Boogeyman was certainly one that I was looking forward to because of the movie that came out. And so I liked it. I mean, it was certainly interesting. We see all the action happen through dialogue and explanations and stuff. And so, yeah, The Boogeyman is really fun. All right. So the seventh one we have is Gray Matter. Ooh, possibly my favorite one. So Gray Matter is a really funny story. So basically it's about this one son who brings home his dad a case of beer because his dad has him bring home a case of beer. But one of the beer cans was like infected or something. It had like a microscopic hole in it that allowed bacteria to get in. And so he drinks it, and then he turns into a gray, slimy, gross, big sludge monster thing. Yeah, that's a mouthful. I just counted out like 6 for you. So there you go. It is a really interesting story because I've never heard of an infected beer doing that to someone before, and it's so funny. So yeah, Gray Matter. I think that's my favorite story in this entire book. So yeah, go read Gray Matter. All right. So story number 8 is Battleground. All right. So I wasn't thinking that I was going to like Battleground that much when I first read it, but then when I finished it, I was like, okay, that's hilarious. So basically, it's about this hitman who kills the CEO of a toy company. And so the toy company sends him a package, and inside that package are tiny soldiers and helicopters who come alive and start attacking him with all their weapons. And at the end, they kill him. He gets killed by toy soldiers. So yeah, of course, there's a movie called like Little Soldiers or Toy Soldiers or something like that. That's probably sort of based on that. I don't know. I think it's like a demented version of Toy Story before Toy Story existed. But yeah, so Battleground is really funny. and I just like the absurdity of it. So yeah, go read Battleground. All right, so the 10th story we have is Trucks. Ooh, an infamous one. So I don't know how many of you out there have read Trucks, but you probably have seen or at least heard of the movie that it became, Maximum Overdrive, written and directed by Stephen King. Well, I read the story, And as someone who saw the movie very recently, at the time I'm filming this, I saw it yesterday, but I'm just gonna say the movie's not even trying to be accurate to the book. It really isn't. Basically, it's like these five people just stuck in a gas station when these trucks are just going crazy. And so they're just trying to survive. Like two of the people die. And then eventually the trucks just want to be fed. And so the main character goes out to feed them. And then we don't know what happens. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, it was really goofy and stuff. I would say that it's like Christine but worse, and so would a lot of other people would say it's Christine but worse. Anyway, I just found it kind of weird more than anything. All right, so the 11th story is Sometimes They Come Back. Ooh, this is an interesting one. So it's about this guy who gets a job as a teacher, but back when he was a child, he was like 9 years old, he got attacked by bullies and his brother got murdered. And so what's weird is that every time one of his students mysteriously dies, he gets a new student who happened to be the bullies that killed his brother as a child. Whoa, that's weird. So basically he has to go up against those like undead zombie boys or something. So basically what it is it just brings back his brother from the dead from like a pentagram ritual, and then his brother kills the zombie kids. I don't know, it was a weird one, but I like the weirdness, so I liked it. Go read it. All right, so the next one is Strawberry Spring. Okay, I don't remember a lot about Strawberry Spring. I think it was something to do with the country, so I'm sorry, but Strawberry Spring was like the most forgettable one, so yeah, I'm sorry for all your Strawberry Spring fans out there. I just could not remember it, and I do apologize because I think I liked that one a little bit. So, sorry, but moving on. All right, so the next one after that is The Ledge. Ooh, another one of my favorites. So basically, The Ledge is, wait, let me check that. Yeah, The Ledge, okay. So it is The Ledge, and The Ledge is basically about this guy who got together with this other guy's wife, and the guy, who hates his wife, by the way, isn't very happy about it. So he basically tells the guy, hey, I had my henchman put a bunch of heroin in your car, and we're going to tell the police if you don't do a thing for me. So he's like, okay, what do you want me to do? I want you to go off my balcony, climb onto the ledge on the side of the building, walk all the way around the building, and see if you survive. If you do, I won't tell the police you have heroin in your car. And so the guy does that. Yeah, so it's basically just like, I don't know, like 20 pages or so of a guy just walking on a ledge around a building with no support. And also he's 43 stories up, so if he falls off that ledge, yeah, it'll just explode. But anyway, so eventually he does get back onto the balcony, and then he forces the guy who made him walk on the ledge to walk on the ledge, and it was really fun, and I really like it. Alrighty, so next one we have is The Lawnmower Man. Okay, so The Lawnmower Man was adapted into a movie in 1992, which seemed to be more sci-fi. I don't know because I haven't seen it, but from what I've seen, the movie seems a little more sci-fi than what the story was going for. So basically, The Lawnmower Man is kind of like Trucks, but also just as weird. Basically, this guy refuses to buy a lawnmower anymore because he accidentally, like, blew up a cat or something that ran under his lawnmower. So he hires a lawn service to do it, and the guy comes out, he's like, hey, I'm going to mow your lawn and stuff. And then some weird stuff happens, and then at the end it's revealed that, like, the Lawnmower Man is like some sort of weird guy person, and then just kills the guy by putting a lawnmower on him. Again, it's kind of like Christine, but with a lawnmower, which is just as absurd as the Trucks one. So yeah, I like that one. It was entertaining, and it's also quite short. So if you're into short fiction, there you go. That one was really funny. Okay, so the next one we have here is Quitters, Inc. Okay, so Quitters, Inc. is about a guy going into an anti-smoking, like, doctor's office. Like, it's a doctor's office that helps you quit smoking. So it's like all those, like, newer stuff today and stuff. And it was actually adapted along with The Ledge into a singular movie called Cat's Eye, starring Drew Barrymore. So there you go. Cat's Eye is both The Ledge and Quitters Inc. Anyway, so basically this doctor's office called Quitters Inc., it has some weird stuff. It's basically you don't really have to pay anything, and basically you can give up and go back to smoking 10 times or 9 times, and after 10 times, Quitters Inc. just gives up. They don't know what to do. But then they bring out they kill you dead. Yeah, so pretty weird stuff. And then the main character, whose name I've forgotten, which I apologize about, he decides to quit smoking for good. And if he goes back, he is told that his wife's finger will be cut off. So that doesn't happen. He quit smoking. Hooray! You treated your lungs with respect. So yeah, that one was just kind of a fun one. I did know that one was based, or was the basis for Cat's Eye, at least a little bit of it was, so I kind of knew something a little bit about that. I haven't seen Cat's Eye, but I really want to. So yeah, anyway, so that was Quitters Inc. And the next one is I Know What You Need. Ooh, this is a very good one. So basically, I Know What You Need. It follows this girl named Elizabeth in her college class, and she meets this guy named Ed Hemner, and basically he's kind of like, hey, how are you? Like, he has glasses, so he's kind of like a nerd, right? And then Elizabeth slowly falls in love with him, just out of nowhere. Like, she had a boyfriend before, but he kind of died, so... And then Ed shows up, so he's just like, hey, wanna go out sometime? And she's like, yeah, okay. So then, like, over the months and stuff, they just, like, fall in love. And then Elizabeth's roommate says, oh, yeah, by the way, Ed is like a psychic. He's like a telepath. Elizabeth is like, what? That's crazy. So she goes over and flees to Ed's because she doesn't like her roommate right now. And when she goes to his apartment, she finds a doll with her hair at first grade. Apparently, this Ed guy had liked her since first grade, cut off a chunk of her hair in first grade, and then put it on a doll he made of her, which is really creepy. So anyway, yeah, so basically, he's been mind-controlling Elizabeth the whole time to fall in love with him and date him. That is weird, and that is creepy. Anyway, so this one is certainly like one of those female empowerment stories, and I really liked it. It was certainly something interesting for Stephen King. I don't see Stephen King writing a lot of stuff like that. I've read 37 of his books so far, so I would know that. But yeah, so I Know What You Need is really interesting, and go read it. All right, so the next story here is Children of the Corn. Ooh, all right. So I'm not sure if you've read Children of the Corn, the story, but you've probably seen one of the 9 movies made after Children of the Corn. Yes, there are 9 Children of the Corn movies, and all of them I think are pretty bad, at least from what I'm seeing from the ratings. So anyway, Children of the Corn, it's about this couple driving across Nebraska in a cornfield, and they happen to run over this dead body that has had their throat sliced open, which is really graphic. So they stuff it in their car and... Excuse me. Anyway. Yeah, so then they drive over to the police station to where they find out that, oh, dang it, no police are actually there. So they go to this other place, and then they find out that the entire city is basically run by children who later try to sacrifice them. And spoiler alert, the children do end up sacrificing them at the end. So, yeah, not another happy ending. Yeah, I guess I should mention this by now, that none of these stories of Night Shift, except for, like, maybe, like, 2 or 3 of them, have happy endings. So they're very nihilistic and very dark. All right, but anyway, that was Children of the Corn. Pretty good. Go read it. And the next one is The Last Rung on the Ladder. Ooh, I like The Last Rung on the Ladder. So basically, it follows this guy who's telling a story about his sister when they were young, on how back when they were growing up on a farm, they would like to climb up this tall ladder in the barn and then jump down into the giant haystack at the bottom. But the ladder was really old and stuff, and so one day when the sister's going up, the ladder breaks and half of it falls, and then she's just stuck hanging on the single last rung of the ladder, which is what the story's called. So then the brother scrambles over to get the hay under her, and then she lets go, and then she miraculously survives. So yeah, and then at the end it's revealed that she like killed herself or something. She just like jumped off a building. So yeah, anyway, that one is kind of actually depressing towards the end, but it's a pretty good story up until then. So yeah, go read Last One on the Ladder. It's pretty good. All right, The Man Who Loved Flowers. Oh, this one is a strange one. You think it's a romance story by Stephen King. Don't think it's a romance story because it's actually quite dark at the end. Where basically this guy just buys flowers from this flower vendor and gives them to this girl who he thinks is Norma, his girlfriend. But the weird thing is that Norma has actually been dead for 10 years. Pretty weird, huh? So anyway, after the girl was like, no, my name's not Norma, the guy brings out a hammer and then kills her with the hammer. For some reason. And then he just walks away. And then that's it. Yeah, that's another really short story, but it's so weird because I don't know what's going on. First of all, why did he think that Norma was still alive? And why did he randomly kill that girl with a hammer? And yeah, there's just a lot of questions that are left unanswered, and it is really strange. So go read it if you like strange things, I guess. All right, second to last story, One for the Road. So, of course, I mentioned Jerusalem's Lot, the prequel to Salem's Lot, earlier in this video. And now it is time for One for the Road, which is a sequel to Salem's Lot. So, if you remember back in my Salem's Lot video, I said that I don't know if the town actually burned down or not. Well, One for the Road confirms that it did indeed burn down to the ground about 2 years back. So yeah, this is about 2 years after the events of Salem's Lot wrapped up. And it's this one guy in a diner, and the guy, or I guess it's a bar, and the guy who owns the bar, and this random stranger walks in. He's like really cold and shivering and like about to die and stuff. But when they eventually get him to wake up, he's freaking out that his wife and daughter were left back in the car that he decided to leave them in. I don't know why he couldn't have just walked them into the bar, but okay. So anyway, and then the three guys, they go venture down to the car, and then they find that the wife and daughter are not there. So the man goes, and he sees that his wife is standing right there, but she has red eyes and long teeth. And that means a vampire's been there because Salem's Lot, Yeah, so then the two main characters, Tukey and the other guy, I forgot his name, they run into the daughter, who is also has red eyes and long teeth. So she's also a vampire. And then they kind of defeat her, and then they just kind of run away. And yeah, so vampires came back, and it's really weird. I don't think they're going to address either Jerusalem's Lot or One for the Road in the new Salem's Lot movie. But hey, they're both Salem's Lot related, so I'm going to read those. And that was One for the Road, so I like it. I think it's better than Jerusalem's Lot, so go read it. I think it's pretty fun, especially if you like Salem's Lot. All right, the last story is The Woman in the Room. All right. So The Woman in the Room basically revolves around this one guy going to see his mother who is in the hospital dying of like cancer, I think. And she's in like massive pain, kind of thinks about stuff about how his grandma was like in pain when she died and stuff. But his mother's in pain. So it starts to devise, maybe if I gave her too much medicine and she died, I could get off the hook. And so that's exactly what he does. He talks to his brother about it. His brother's like, nah. And so what it is he goes to the hospital, gives his mother 6 tablets of whatever medicine it was that I've forgotten, and then she dies. And then he just goes home and waits for the call to hear that she died. And then that's how Night Shift ends. So those are all 20 stories of Night Shift. I really enjoyed reading Night Shift, like even the stories that I wasn't too keen on or the ones that I didn't remember, like Strawberry Spring. They were all very good stories, and I'd recommend like every single one of them. Everyone will have a favorite story in here. I don't have a full ranking, I guess you could say, but I'd say my favorites are Gray Matter, Battleground, The Last Rung on the Ladder, and The Mangler. Those are like my 4 favorite ones in this collection. So yeah, I think that everyone will have a story that they love in this collection. I certainly do. And I've actually heard that this is like the best Stephen King story collection. Now, I've only read Night Shift and If It Bleeds. So I've only read 2, so I don't know that it's the best one, but it's certainly my favorite of the story collection so far. So anyway, I'd say go read Night Shift. Give it a read. It's fun, and the stories will probably either gross you out, scare you, or just make you think like, wow, that is messed up. So anyway, yeah, that is it for my video. I appreciate you guys for watching this far, and yeah, so now I can finally get back onto my regular plan, which was to read Cycle the Werewolf and then Storm of the Century, and then after that, you will find out in time. But anyway, so yeah, I can now get back to my regular reading schedule. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like the video if you like it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. But anyway, that is about all the time I have for you today. I have been Ben from the Emerald Sword, and I will see you guys next time.